So, good morning, a very good morning to all my respected seniors, chairpersons, and my fellow doctors. So, I'm Dr. Gopinath. I'm working as an assistant professor in Government ESA Medical College, Coimbatore. So, I'm here to present my topic, combating junk science and things for reforming forensic protocols. So, what is junk science? Junk science or scientific inquiry, research, analysis, and or practice that is conducted using insufficient or improper methodologies. Excuse me. Insufficient or improper methodologies, conclusions from flawed premises, and lacks proper peer review, deemed unreliable and invalid by the broader scientific community. So, in the context of forensic medicine, junk science encompasses techniques, methods, and theories that lack adequate scientific validation, but are nevertheless presented as legitimate scientific evidence in medico-legal proceedings. For example, two-finger test and biomark analysis. We all know that two-finger test was very unscientific, but previously we have been following this test. Many of us have been conducting this test, but now it has been proved unscientific. It is an example for a junk science. So what are the threats or hazards of junk science? The infiltration of junk science into forensic medicine poses numerous significant threats. The judicial system implications are wrongful convictions, miscarriage of justice, and erosion of public trust. What happens when flawed forensic evidence has contributed to numerous documented cases of innocent individuals being convicted? And also guilty parties may escape conviction due to improper interpretation and presentation of forensic evidence. Loss of confidence in judicial system when forensic evidence is later being discredited. The professional and ethical concerns regarding this junk science is damage to professional credibility. The entire field of forensic medicine suffers reputational harm because of unreliable methods and also ethical violations. When the presentation of unvalidated techniques are as reliable evidence violates professional ethics also. Resource misallocation. Time, effort, and funding are diverted to scientifically unsound methodologies. Baseless research articles and misleading effects on scientific growth. So this is currently becoming more and more problematic because of baseless research articles, because of poor quality of research. The proliferation of poor quality research in forensic medicine significantly impedes scientific advancement. The characteristics of problematic research are methodological deficiencies, publication bias, predatory publishing, and conflicts of interest. So small sample sizes, inappropriate controls, or flawed experimental designs, and also the tendency to publish only positive results while the negative findings remain unreported. And also journals with inadequate peer review process publishing substandard research. The conflict of interest is undisclosed financial or professional relationship affecting the research integrity. So what is the impact of this junk science on the scientific development? Distortion of knowledge base. So literatures are being dominated by unreliable findings that leads to misguided future research and also resource diversion and delayed recognition of reliable techniques. These noise produced by these junk science from poor research obscures the genuinely promising advances. And also remedial strategies. So what can be done regarding these baseless research and what can be done to avoid all those things? Strengthen peer review, replication requirements, the emphasis on independent verification before acceptance of newer techniques. So if you are going to replicate any of the research work, first you independently verify the authenticity of that research article. And also pre-registration of studies, publication of methodologies and hypotheses prior to data collection, and open data policies, making raw data available for independent analysis and verification. So critical meta-analysis, systematic evaluation of quality of evidence across forensic disciplines. How to combat junk science in case of education through education and training reforms and quality assurance and standardization. So implementation of standardized evidence-based curricula for forensic practitioners, which is being incorporated into our NMC curriculum now for the students as well as both UG and PG, which is a process going on simultaneously, and also continuing education requirements focusing on scientific methodology and critical evaluation. Training in statistical reasoning and probability to improve interpretation of findings. And also quality assurance, mandatory accreditation for laboratories according to the international standards, and also regular proficiency testing and blind quality control programs. Development and adherence to standard operating procedures with scientific validation. So how to access authentic information? There are two types of sources. So you can access secondary sources as well as primary sources. So what are the primary sources? Primary sources is the law itself. For example, regarding MTP, if you want to do a legal research, what you have to do? You have to go through the actual law, which is the MTP Act. So that will be published in the Gazette actually. So that is the actual law. So that is the primary source. Regarding the secondary sources, it actually helps in general understanding, and also it is used to identify most important primary sources. Through these general secondary sources, we can identify these primary sources. We can find out what are the primary sources. What you have to do is, initially, if you open a Google or search for MTP, to show some articles, news articles, newspaper publications, or some expert analysis. So we have to go through that. So we have to, where is the primary source? We have to look into it, and we have to go and search for the primary source and obtain it. So that is the primary source, the authenticity and authenticated source. Constitutional framework in our India, which affects the forensic medicine, or concurrent list subject. Since criminal procedures and evidence come under concurrent list, both union and state governments can legislate certain things for a state as well as for the nation. And also state autonomy. Health is primarily a state subject, leading to variations in medico-legal systems. So there are various protocols being followed in different states because of this state policies. And also judicial interpretations. Often Supreme Court rulings establish precedents affecting forensic practice nationally. So like banning of this 2-figure test. So what are the resulting challenges because of this distribution of power in our constitution? So jurisdictional inconsistencies, varying standards and protocols across different states, and also resource disparities, uneven distribution of forensic infrastructure and expertise. So if we look in our country, not all the institutes, tertiary care institutes itself, they will not be having the same infrastructure. So there will be variations, and there will be variations in the protocols also. Coordination difficulties, challenges in implementing unified standards and sharing information throughout the India, throughout our nation at the same level. And also policy fragmentation, disjointed approach to forensic development and regulation. So what can be done constitutionally? So Article 249 application, a parliament could legislate on state subjects, national interest, and also a model legislation, central government providing template laws for state adoption, and conditional funding, central grants with mandatory quality standards as prerequisites. So for example, the union government is funding the state government for establishment of one-stop centers. So that is an example for central grants. So why we need a universal protocol for our medical legal system, for not only for autopsy, then for the medical legal purposes. So why do we need it? Because of scientific universality, quality assurance, judicial consistency, and international compatibility. So these are the reasons why we need universal protocols. And also, we cannot always follow universal protocols throughout a nation equally because of many variations within our states. So what are the reasons why we need region-specific adaptations? So resource considerations, population demographics, environmental factors, and based on the cultural context. So we need both universal protocols and also region-wise adaptations based on that universal protocol. So that is what needed actually. So for example, in case of DNA analysis, the universal protocol can be followed as standard extraction methods, amplification protocols, and statistical interpretation, and also uniform certification requirements for analysts, consistent contamination prevention procedures, standardized report formats. So these can be done through universal protocols. So what are the region-specific protocols? For example, in case of post-mortem interval estimation, we all know that post-mortem interval estimation depends on various factors. It is altered by various factors. So all these factors can be taken into account based on the region-wise. So based on that, region-wise protocols can be done. So this is an example for region-wise protocol. And also hybrid approach sample. Regarding both universal elements and region-wise elements can be incorporated into this hybrid model. So what can be done? Sexual assault evidence collection. For example, the chain of custody documentation, essential biological sample collection, everything can be done under universal elements. And regarding the regional adaptations, Based on rural areas, resource limited settings, and cultural sensitive variations, these regional adaptations can be incorporated into this hybrid model protocol. So, if you want to combat junk science, what is the effect? The stakes are exceptionally high, especially in our field, because we not only deal with just dead persons, but human lives, liberty, and justice also. So it depends on the reliability of forensic evidence. And also, the path forward demands commitment from individual practitioners, that is, us, institutional leaders, our institutions, academic researchers, as well as the policy makers. So we only through the collective effort of all these persons we can effectively combat junk science and ensure that forensic medicine fulfill its essential role in the administration of justice. So I thank you everyone for a patient listening, and thank you the entire team of Forentix Medilexa for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Dr. Gobinath, good presentation, but I think you have touched big things like Constitution of India, central government decisions, Supreme Court decisions. I think the feasibility of it is, out of our reach, first thing.
Yes, sir.
And second thing was, I just want to say that you said bite mark analysis, we are depending on the junk.
Yes,
Can
sir,
you
yes, sir.
elaborate a bit more?
Yes,
because
sir, sure.
in one of the famous cases of Nirbhaya,
Yes, sir.
they claimed that it is the bite marks that determine the accused.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the exact reproduction of bite marks is very difficult actually, because more we don't get the class 3 bite marks in our cases. Only the class 3 bite marks will be having 3D indentations. So that will be useful for taking the individual characteristics, which is highly impossible in most of the cases. So mostly you'll be getting either class 1 or class 2 bite mark. So it may be useful for taking saliva stains for DNA analysis, etc. But for individual identity, in case of bite mark, if you want to take out the teeth pattern, better to go for class 3 bite marks. But the 3D indentation on the dead body will not last for long. It will last only for a particular period of time. So it will be very difficult. And also there is a famous case which underwent trial based on the bite mark analysis. The person has been convicted in USA. Later on, they proved that it is a junk science, and they have now acquitted him. So it's a famous case. I couldn't remember it exactly, sir. But so there is a book written on that case itself, like the black book of junk science, like that.
Thank you, Dr. Gobinath, for giving a nice presentation. You started your presentation with the junk science, and junk science is actually the science where we are facing the problems, and persons are going more for a than the reading. And you have given enormously in a better way how to differentiate between the junk and other things. So very nicely presented. Thank you very much for the nice presentation. Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. That was an eye-opening and thought-stimulating presentation. On this occasion, I take great pride in welcoming Shri Alex Paul Menon, sir, Development Commissioner, MEPS Socioeconomic Zone, Chennai, and Shri M.T. Arunan, sir, Advocate Notary, All India Commissioner of Notes, to join with us today. It is my privilege to call upon our revered chairpersons to felicitate Dr. R. Gopinath, sir. To extend our immense gratitude, we call upon Professor Dr. R. Selvakumar, sir, HOD of Balaji Medical College, and Professor Dr. Renju Ravindran, sir, Vice Principal of